The path was a blur beneath Zepha's feet. In his 30s and driven by a primal sort of terror, he burst into view, his body a machine of desperate motion. Sweat streamed down his face, stinging his eyes, but he didn't slow. His breath was ragged, tearing out of his lungs in sharp, painful hitches. Every few seconds, he darted a panicked glance over his shoulder, his wide eyes searching the empty air behind him as if something unseen, something terrible, was gaining ground. "I know what you're thinking," he gasped, the words tumbling out between desperate inhalations. "Where are you going?" He shook his head, his voice strained with the weight of his flight. "Truth is, even I don't know. All I know is that I have to go. I need to go. I must go. To where? No clue yet, but I'll figure it out. For now, let me run." With a fresh surge of adrenaline, Zepha pushed himself even faster. The desperation in his chest rose like a tide, forcing his legs to churn against the earth with renewed urgency. Elsewhere, the atmosphere was a stark contrast of practiced calm. Dina's living room had been meticulously transformed into a mini studio. It was a battlefield of beauty. Makeup palettes, brushes, and shimmering lip glosses were scattered across the table with the intentional chaos of a content creator at work. Dina, a woman in her mid-20s, moved with the confidence of someone who knew exactly how she wanted the world to see her. She adjusted her tripod stand, the metal clicking as she tightened the knob, and then reached for her ring light. She lifted it with purpose, and the soft LED glow flickered to life, bathing the room in a professional radiance. She checked her angles, brushed her hair back, and prepared to record, her focus entirely on the digital world. The world outside remained frantic. On the road, Zepha was sprinting harder now. The breath was literally tearing out of his chest, his eyes wide and wild with a sense of impending doom. Back in the sitting room, Dina leaned into her phone camera. With influencer precision, she began applying her makeup, the ring light painting her features in a soft, flawless glow as she began her TikTok intro. On the road, Zepha's foot caught on a stone. He stumbled, the world tilting dangerously, but he refused to fall. He kept pushing forward, his head whipping back one more time to check the road behind him. Suddenly, a sharp, heavy knock thudded against Dina's door. The sound shattered the silence of the studio. Dina froze mid-stroke, her makeup brush hovering inches from her skin. Surprised and a little annoyed, she turned slowly toward the sound, her brows lifting in genuine confusion. In a different part of town, another door swung open, this one to a doctor's office. Katamba, a man in his 40s, stepped inside. He was a stark contrast to the sterile environment, wearing grease-stained overalls with a heavy toolbox hanging from one hand. His attitude arrived long before he did, a sense of gruff competence trailing in his wake. Dr. Mukisa sat behind a desk cluttered with paperwork. A nurse standing beside him jotted down notes. Both of them snapped their heads toward the door, their expressions alert and expectant. At that same moment, Dina reached for her front door. As she opened it, she froze. Zepha stood in the doorway. He was breathless, drenched in sweat, and his eyes were wide with a manic, wild panic. Before she could utter a single word of inquiry, he rushed past her. The damp fabric of his shirt brushed her shoulder as he stormed into the house with an urgent, singular determination. Confused and shaken, Dina stepped back inside and closed the door behind her, watching him move through her home with frantic purpose. Zepha didn't stop to explain. He headed straight for the bedroom and swung the door open. Dina hesitated for only a second before her concern deepened and she followed him in. Meanwhile, in the office, Katamba strode forward with confidence, his eyes fixed on the doctor. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Where's it?" he demanded. Dr. Mukisa reached onto the table and picked up a phone. The screen was a web of shattered glass, badly cracked and dark. He handed it over tentatively. Here you go. It's a bit broken, but I hope you can make it work. Katamba took the device, staring at the shattered glass as if the phone had personally offended him. A bit broken? He repeated, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Musawo, if this is a bit, I fear to see what completely broken looks like to you. The question is, can you help? Dr. Mukisa asked. The answer is, I'll try, Katamba replied. Don't try, Katamba, that phone is our only hope. Katamba let out a long, dramatic sigh. Fine, I'll do my best. He turned to leave, but Dr. Mukisa called out to stop him. Where are you going now? Can't you do it from here? Katamba paused, turning back with a look of feigned patience. If you insist. He lifted the phone high into the air, holding it aloft as if he were performing a sacred ritual rather than a technical repair. The doctor and the nurse exchanged startled, skeptical glances as Katamba smiled proudly, acting for all the world like he was performing high-level engineering. Back at the house, Dina entered the bedroom and was instantly startled. Zepha was in the middle of stripping off his sweat-soaked shirt, moving with a frantic, jittery energy. He dragged a suitcase from under the bed, threw it open, and began yanking clothes from the wardrobe in a desperate rush. "Babe, what are you doing?" Dina cried. Zepha didn't stop packing. "Isn't it obvious?" he snapped, his agitation growing. "I'm packing, and it would help a lot if you joined in." "Packing? Where are you going?" Zepha stopped for a split second, looking at her. "Not me. Us. We're leaving. For a few days, weeks, maybe months." "Why?" Dina demanded. "I mean..." She was cut off by the sudden, piercing wail of a police siren echoing from the street outside. Zepha froze. A flash of pure panic crossed his face. He rushed to the window, peeking out nervously through the curtains. Dina watched him, her confusion shifting into genuine fear. "What is going on?" she whispered. "There's no time to explain," Zepha said, turning back to the suitcase. "I'll tell you everything on the way. Just help me. Grab whatever you think is essential." "Like what?" Zepha threw his hands up in frustration. "How would I know what's essential to you? Dina, you're stalling. We need to be out of here." Suddenly, the sound of Dina's phone ringing erupted from the sitting room. Both of them went dead silent, exchanging a tense, knowing look that hung heavy in the air. In the doctor's office, Katamba lowered the dead phone, shaking his head. "Things have refused," he announced solemnly. "But you said this is your part-time job," Dr. Mukisa exclaimed, disappointed. "Doctor, these things are a gamble. Usually, when you raise it like this, you can see how the pattern runs." Katamba squinted at the darkened screen. "Have you tried the fingerprint sensor?" "You think we didn't try that?" the doctor replied. "It doesn't use fingerprints. It's facial recognition." Katamba's face brightened instantly, as if he had just solved world hunger. "There you go. That's the solution. Use the face." The nurse and the doctor exchanged a nervous, pained look. "We can't," the nurse whispered. "Why not?" Katamba asked, his eyebrows raised in expectation. Silence fell over the room as the two medical professionals glanced at each other, neither wanting to be the one to speak. In the house, Zepha and Dina burst out of the bedroom. In a sudden move of desperation, Dina leaped onto Zepha's back, clinging to him tightly as she reached for her ringing phone. "Wait, hold on," Zepha yelled. "That's my phone. What's your problem?" "Wait." Zepha managed to grab the phone. He glanced at the screen for a second before his thumb swiped across it, declining the incoming call. "Zepha," Dina said, her voice dropping. "Sorry, I accidentally declined it." Dina hopped off his back, crossing her arms and glaring at him with pure fire in her eyes. Accidentally, I was right here. I saw you do it on purpose. Babe, what's going on? I told you I'll explain everything on the way, Zepha pleaded. Frustrated, Dina plops down on the couch, refusing to move. No, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me. First, you leave for a field study that's supposed to last a week, and a few hours later, you're back. And what's the first thing you do? Ask me to help you pack. What happened to the luggage I packed for you? And why should I leave? I'm not property that you just pack up and move. I'm not going anywhere. Zepha knelt in front of her, gently lifting her from the couch. Baby, I'm not saying you're property. I hear you. I understand everything. He held her hands, looking directly into her eyes with a desperate sincerity. But please, help me pack. I promise I'll explain everything, but first, we have to get out of here. Trust me, please. I love you. It's not about love, Dina argued. I have work to do. You're a content creator. You can work from anywhere. Dina's eyes narrowed. I'm a content creator, not a TikToker. Don't undermine my career. Plus, the landlord said he'd come by earlier. Zepha's grip tightened slightly. The landlord? Come here. Why now? How should I know? Stop bombarding me with questions. I'm sorry, Zepha said softly, pulling her close to him. I just need us to leave now. Please, honey, trust me. He kissed her gently, then guided her back toward the bedroom, his steps filled with renewed urgency. In a cold hospital ward, Dr. Mukisa, the nurse, and Katamba approached a bed where a body lay fully covered in a white sheet. Dr. Mukisa slowly reached out and lifted the sheet from the head. The face beneath was completely shattered, mangled beyond any hope of recognition. I think you can now see why that plan failed, the doctor said quietly. The nurse sighed, looking at the broken phone. Maybe. I'll try. You never know. I might be able to unlock it. She reached for the device, but Katamba hesitated, his body tense. No, we've got only one more try on this thing. After that, factory reset. Isn't that a good thing? Dr. Mukisa asked. Katamba shook his head. Kirungi, you never did physics. You'd have been a terrible engineer. No, it's not a good thing. We'd lose all the data, everything. Then we wouldn't even have a place to start. Maybe we just wait for someone to call. The phone's about to die, the nurse noted. I doubt anyone here has a charger, but I still think I can figure it out. You can't, Katamba stated flatly. How do you know I can't? You act like people who know a lot of things. You try, fail, but never fail to try. Ever heard of that? I'm glad your English teacher covered Proverbs, Katamba retorted, but this one won't work here. At least I went to school, the nurse mumbled. If that's a lie you want to run with, fine. The nurse ignored him and grabbed the phone. As her fingers traced a pattern across the glass, a sickening crunch echoed through the room. The screen shattered further under her touch, spiderwebbing into total darkness. Dr. Mukisa and Katamba stared at her in stunned disbelief. The nurse looked up, a guilty smile on her face. Oops. Back at the house, Dina stood with her bags, watching as Zepha fumbled with the door lock. He was clearly struggling, his fingers clumsy and shaking. Move, let me do it, Dina said with a smirk. You're too fidgety for this. I'm not fidgety, Zepha insisted. My hands are just sweaty, but thanks anyway. Dina quickly and easily locked the door. Zepha lifted the heavy bags, slinging them over his shoulders. They began walking away together, a quiet, tense rhythm between them as they disappeared down the path. Moments later, a man named Mukwaya stormed in from the opposite direction, his steps sharp and hurried. He stopped at the house and glared at the padlock. His fists tightened at his sides. But these people, taking me for granted, Mazima, he grumbled, furious. I called them just a few hours ago. They think they know me. I'll show them. They will fear. He paced the veranda, his eyes scanning the empty yard, seething with anger. Out on the roadside, Dina and Zepha stood beside their luggage. Dina looked impatient, her hands firmly on her hips. Sir, you're leading this, so what's next? We need an Uber or a special hire, Zepha said, looking around. To where? I'll tell you, just order the Uber. Dina reached into her pockets, her expression changing to one of dawning realization. How? My phone. It's gone. I can't find it anywhere. A memory flickered. Zepha standing over a sink, holding a phone. His face had been tight with frustration as he dismantled the device with quick, precise movements before tossing it out of a bathroom window. Later, when Dina's call had rung, he had flinched and turned away, letting it go unanswered. Back on the roadside, Dina shook Zepha urgently. Zepha! Zepha! What? He snapped. What do you mean what? I'm talking to you. How do you... Her words were cut off by the sound of tires. A car screeched to a stop nearby, and the driver honked loudly. Both Dina and Zepha turned, startled, their eyes wide with alarm. At Zepha's home, a man named Mukwaya stood on the veranda, his anger boiling. When Mugole walked through the gate, Mukwaya barked. Where exactly did you see Dina? Mugole hesitated. She was at the junction near the Boda stage next to... Before he could finish, Mukwaya bolted off, urgency in every step as he vanished into the distance. Mugole watched him go, muttering to himself as he walked away. There are many stages. I tried to help. In the hospital ward, the air was thick with tension. The nurse and Katamba were arguing loudly, their voices echoing off the sterile white walls. When Dr. Mukisa entered, he was visibly exasperated. Okay, enough, we shall figure this out, he said, stepping between them. Katamba, go find Hamza. I need you two to move this body. We'll transport it to Mulago. The family will find it there. He turned to the nurse. Deborah, sort out that phone. It has blacked out, she replied. Then find a charger. At least someone might call. It's an iPhone, the nurse pointed out. When you see it, Katamba chimed in, mocking. And don't try me, Deborah snapped. I'm just saying no one here has one. So how am I supposed to charge it? Katamba smirked. Simple. Put it in your armpits. Your smell might shock it back to life. Oh, if it's about smell, then here. Open your mouth, she retorted. Enough, both of you, Mukisa shouted. Deborah, the phone is your responsibility. Katamba, I want this room vacant. The doctor stormed out, leaving Katamba and the nurse to exchange one final glare before following him. By the roadside, the car that had screeched to a halt finally slowed. The driver, Sadat, rolled down the window with a grin. Dina! Oh, hey Sadat. New ride? Or you borrowed? Dina asked. Who, me? No, madam. Sadat doesn't borrow cars. This is mine, he replied proudly. The other one had mechanical issues. I was tired of the mechanic getting rich off me. That car was driving me straight to Butabika. But you're full of surprises, Dina laughed. Exactly. So, where are you two heading? You might be lucky, become my very first customer, and enjoy the smell of a new car. Dina turned to Zepha, who was busy easing himself by the roadside. Where are we going? Zepha looked up. Gayaza! Gayaza? Both Dina and Sadat exclaimed at once. I guess Gayaza it is. Dina said, looking at Sadat. So how much? Where exactly in Gayaza? Sadat asked. Dina turned back to Zepha. Where exactly in Gayaza? Sadat raised a brow. Who are you asking? He's been peeing for way too long, Dina remarked. Naquero, Zepha finally answered. Naquero, Sadat repeated, skeptical. Shah, that's not far. You'll give me 200,000 because it's you. Kale. Come, let's go, Dina agreed. She began loading the bags as Sadat stepped out to help. The scenes that followed were a blur of motion. Mukwaya was sprinting down a narrow pathway, breathing hard as he pushed through thick shrubs. Sadat was lifting the heavy bags and tossing them into the boot. Zepha ushered Dina into the back seat, and as she slid in and slammed the door, she commanded, "We go." The engine revved and the car accelerated just as Mukwaya reached the end of the pathway. He burst onto the roadside a second too late, reaching out as the car pulled away in a thick cloud of dust. He stood there, hands on his hips, watching the vehicle disappear with deep frustration. The car sped along the highway, cutting through traffic as the sun began to fade. A Gayaza signpost slid past as they vanished into the twilight. Back at the hospital, Dr. Mukisa stormed back into the ward, Katamba and Hamza trailing behind him. "But can you stop pretending?" he yelled. "How can two grown men stand here and tell me you failed? How could you fail to push a bed? Let me do it myself, then after you still want to be paid." He grabbed the bed and pulled with all his might. Nothing. The bed didn't move an inch. Katamba and Hamza exchanged a look. "Help me! What are you standing staring at?" Mukisa barked. The three men pulled together, straining until their faces were red. Still nothing. They switched positions. They pushed. They pulled. They tried to lift it. The bed refused to budge. They stood there, gasping for air, staring at the stubborn bed in total disbelief. Near Gayaza, the car slowed and pulled over. Headlights cut through the deepening dusk. "Sadat, please wait a little," Dina said as she stepped out. "What are you doing? Baby, please. Let's get back on the road before it gets too late," Zepha pleaded. Dina stood her ground. "I'm not going any further until you tell me where we're going, and most importantly, why we're doing all this." "I will tell you." "Do I look cheap to you? One, you pull the rope and take it wherever you want. No questions asked. Tell me, Zepha, do I? You've been saying you'll explain since you came back home. Kati, I'm not taking another step until you explain everything. And I mean everything." Dina dropped down and sat on the roadside. Inside the car, Sadat watched through the side mirror, distracted by his phone. "Dina, are you okay there?" "I'm okay. Wait for me, please." "Now see, you're even confusing Sadat," Zepha whispered. "Who cares? That's the last thing I'm worried about. Zepha, if you don't tell me what's going on, I'll ask Sadat to drive me back home. And don't think I'm joking." Dina stood up to walk back to the car, but Zepha quickly grabbed her hand. Okay, I'll tell you everything, but promise me one thing. Don't get mad." Dina searched his face in the dim light. Silence hung between them. "Wait, Zepha, what?" Dina started, her voice rising. "Don't shout," Zepha hissed. "It's not like I killed someone." "Same thing, almost. You're going to kill me with pressure. Why in the world didn't you tell me all that?" Zepha's shoulders slumped. "How? Baby, how was I supposed to tell you about the financial hurdles, that I lost my job months ago, that we owe the landlord over 4 months? I didn't want to worry you, and I never imagined it would get this bad." Well, now it's here, Dina said, her voice trembling. So, what do we do next? Zepha pulled her closer, holding her tightly. That's what I'm working on. Let's stay at my friend's place for now. I've applied for several jobs, promising ones. Once I land one, we'll pay the landlord everything, get back home, and life will be normal again. Plus, there's some money coming from my Sacco savings. Just trust me. And your phone? What happened to it? I sold it. That's how I managed to get some cash. But trust me, a phone is the least of our problems right now. Please, let's get moving before it gets dark. Dina exhaled heavily, the weight of the truth finally settling. Okay. They slid back into the car. Sadat hung up his phone and started the engine. They drove in silence until they reached a quiet, well-kept compound. It was Kato's house. Sadat unloaded the luggage, Dina paid him, and he drove off into the night. Dina looked around the impressive compound. Wow, this place looks expensive. Again, which friend of yours lives here? Kato, I told you, he traveled to Saudi Arabia last week for work. He asked me to hold on to some of his things. I'll move them to our place later, after we settle with our landlord. Ah, so he's not behind on rent. Zepha unlocked the door with a hidden key. Nope, just because I owe our landlord doesn't mean everyone in my circle does. Birds of a feather, huh? I heard that. It was meant for you to hear, Dina teased. Zepha grinned, holding the door wide. Come in, madam. The night dissolved into morning. Sunlight streamed through the large windows of Kato's sitting room. Zepha was lounging on the sofa, flipping through TV channels, when Dina walked in, yawning. Finally awake. I'm beat, Dina admitted. Last night, traveling just wiped me out. Tell us, that's the only reason. Are you trying to downplay my effort here? Zepha winked. Go away, Dina laughed. All right then. What's the plan for today? Plan? Do we really need one? Let's just take it easy. Think of this as a staycation. Relax, breathe. I like the sound of that. Though, if only we had room service. Let's see what Kato left behind. We might at least manage breakfast. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Dr. Mukiza drove into the compound and parked. Before he could even get out of the car, Katamba and Hamza approached him, their faces like masks of doom. That look on your faces is very demoralizing, Mukiza sighed. Don't tell me you still failed. Well, we didn't succeed, Katamba said. Same thing, Hamza added. But Musawo, honestly, I think this thing is spiritual. Nurse Deborah walked in, overhearing the last part. Hey, finally you're back, Katamba noted. I'm on day shift this week. What do you need? She asked. Nothing. So, did you finally move the body? Katamba smirked. Yes. Didn't you see it placed nicely at your doorstep? Katamba. Wama. Dr. Mukisa intervened. We are yet to find a solution. Look, Musawo, I spent the whole night thinking, Deborah said. What if we ask the mechanics from the workshop down the road to help? You never know. Katamba paused, mockingly impressed. Wow, you're very smart. How come none of us thought of that? So let's do it. Hamza, call them. Wama, we already tried that, Hamza sighed. They came, and still failed. Personally, I think this thing is spiritual. Spiritual? Nga spirits? The nurse asked. No, he means it's spiritual. But for cars, Katamba joked. Dr. Mukisa shot him a warning look. What? She makes it so easy, Katamba added with a shrug. They all burst into laughter as they walked toward the hospital entrance. Back in Kato's sitting room, Dina was inspecting the kitchen. Nothing. The fridge is as empty as the rest of the place. I think your friend ate like there's no tomorrow. You know how bachelors are, Zepha replied. Anyway, let's go shopping. I saw a trading center nearby. Draw up the shopping list. Let's buy enough to last at least a week. Sure, why? I prefer fresh things. Are you forgetting about the staycation? I want us indoors, enjoying each other, practicing for our honeymoon. Honeymoon indeed, Dina teased. But if you insist, let me freshen up first, dress up, then we go. She started to stand, but Zepha grabbed her and pulled her back down. They collapsed into laughter as he leaned over her playfully. What is it? What? I don't like how you're treating me. You just walk off like I'm your brother. And I bet even brothers get more affection than this. So what would you want me to do? Zepha pointed to one cheek. Dina pecked it. He pointed to the other. She pecked it. Finally, he pointed to his lips and closed his eyes. Dina held his eyes open playfully. If you start that, breakfast will become lunch. She laughed and ran off, Zepha chuckling after her. At a shop in the trading center, Mukwaya was browsing the shelves when a loud horn blared. He turned to see Sadat in his shiny new car, grinning. Sadat? Who lent you this car? People never learn, I swear. Mukulu, relax, Sadat bragged. This isn't a rented car, Sabo. This beauty is all mine. In his office, Dr. Mukisa was pacing, a phone pressed to his ear. Hello. Oh, thank God. Doctor, I've been trying to reach you since last night. Yes, I know. Oh, okay, I understand. Did you see my WhatsApp message? Still nothing? Right, so what do I do now? All right. Thank you, I knew I could count on you. He hung up and exhaled deeply. Deborah. Back at the house, Dina closed the door and caught up to Zepha at the gate. He was fidgeting. Wait, I should say hi to the neighbor. Why now? Nawe, let's just go, I'm starving. If you want to chat with neighbors, do it later. Come, please. Dina laughed, but let him pull her along. A neighbor peeked out from her doorway, watching them walk away with a puzzled smile. The trading center was bustling as Dina and Zepha wove through the stalls, shopping bags in hand. They haggled playfully and joked with shopkeepers. Inside a boutique, Dina held a blouse to the mirror. Suddenly, a woman passing by outside spotted her and waved excitedly. Zepha caught sight of her and immediately nudged Dina. We go, get the things, we go. Wait, hold up, I haven't even checked the price yet. Later, you'll see it some other time. Come on, let's go. Grumbling but smiling, Dina followed him. They hurried out, weaving through the crowd. Dina glanced back once before falling into step beside him. Road path. Day. Police officers spread out along the path, scanning the area carefully. Their boots crunch against the gravel as they move with cautious precision. One officer spots something on the ground. Officer 1, sir. He picks up a wallet, brushing off dust, and hands it to a colleague. They flip it open, peering at its contents. Suddenly, another officer rushes over, urgency written all over his face. Officer 2, sir, you need to see this. Afande, what is it? Officer 2, better if you see for yourself, sir. Afande exchanges a tense glance with Officer 1 before following Officer 2, quickening his pace. The wind rustles through nearby trees, adding an edge of suspense as they approach the unseen discovery. Cut. The camera pans slowly across the bustling newsroom. Telephones ring, screens flicker with live feeds, and journalists type rapidly at their desks. The news anchor, composed and serious, looks directly into the camera. News anchor, we interrupt our regular bulletin for a special announcement. The photo you see on your screen is of Kato Mahad, who tragically lost his life in an accident along Hoima Road, alongside a friend whose details are still being verified. If you have any information about him or his companion, please contact your nearest police station immediately. The anchor pauses, letting the words sink in, before giving a reassuring nod to the camera. News anchor continued. We'll return after a short commercial break with more updates. Sitting room. Evening. The glow from the TV flickers across the room as Zepha reaches over and turns it off just as Dina walks in carrying plates of food. Dina, why'd you turn that off? I thought you loved the news. Zepha, not these days. It's all politics, all the time. Annoying. Dina, laughing. That's why I said I'd rather watch music or movies. At least on YouTube I get my MJMV videos. Zepha chuckles, shaking his head. Dina, don't laugh. Anyway, hand me the remote. I'll be watching something else while you recover from your news overdose. Dina reaches for the remote, but Zepha grabs it playfully. Dina, what? Zepha, it's time for food. You can't serve two masters at once. Dina, since when? Zepha, since now on, let's eat, and honestly, the food looks almost as appetizing as the chef herself. Where should I start first? The chef or the matuk? Dina laughs. Eat before it gets cold. I doubt you'd want it all rubbery. They both settle down, enjoying the meal and each other's company, laughter and soft teasing filling the room. Hospital ward. Day. The room is tense. A native doctor kneels on the floor, spreading cowrie shells in a precise pattern. He chants softly, eyes closed, then suddenly looks up at Dr. Mukisa, Katamba, Hamza, and Nurse Deborah. Native doctor. Oh, this is serious. Hamza, Jaja, what do you mean? Native doctor. You will not be able to move this body from here. Katamba, whispering, as if we didn't already know that. Native doctor. I know you know, and young man, know your limits. Don't test me. Hamza. Jaja, forgive him. He's a mix of ignorance and, well, pure stubbornness. The nurse giggles softly. Native doctor. Anyway, as I was saying, before being rudely interrupted by the one suffering from mouth diarrhea, this young man cannot leave us, and yet he cannot stay. Dr. Mukisa, to Hamza. Ask him what we should do about the body. It must be moved. Native doctor. I heard you, but it's not up to you. He must want it himself. Hamza. Who? Native doctor. The dead young man. When he decides to join his ancestors, even this body will be lighter than a feather. Until then, nothing, no one, can force it. Native doctor. Wait. All others wait. The native doctor nods calmly. The others exchange frustrated, disappointed looks. Studio. Day. The camera pans to Sheila Price, seated at the news desk, papers in hand, addressing the audience with a serious tone. Sheila Price. Guys, wake up, this news can't wait. I'm sure you've all heard about the tragic accident. She gestures toward a photo on the screen. Sheila Price continued. The second victim has been identified. It is Zepha Serwanja. Yes, that's him in the photo, though a bit blurry. She leans slightly forward, voice softer, urging the public. Sheila Price continued. If you know anyone by those names, please report to the nearest police station. Let's pray for the families. Accidents like these, they change lives forever. Gate. Day. Sarah holds out her phone toward Dina, her eyes wide with disbelief. Sarah. I think you have seen. Dina. Yeah, but there's no way that's my Zepha. This must be a mix-up. Sarah. Dina. Remember last time you said you were with him? I saw you and there was no one with you. Dina. I didn't say. Maybe you just didn't see him. He's not that person. I've been living with Zepha here. If you want, we can go inside and you can talk to him yourself. Sarah. Ah, Neda. The names match and even the photo. Like a national ID, you can tell it's him. Dina. That's just what you want to believe. But if he were dead, would I be living with him, taking photos? Sarah. Let me show you my Zepha. See for yourself. Dina holds the phone out to Sarah. Sarah. Dina. It's only you in the photos. Dina grabs the phone back and scrolls through the pictures. One by one, they see it's only Dina in every photo. Dina. Stunned. It's no way. Excuse me. She turns and walks away, closing the gate behind her. Sarah. Calling after her. I'm here if you need me. Maybe not right here, but call me. Sarah walks off, looking puzzled and concerned. Hospital ward. Day. An older lady paces nervously, her hands wringing as Dr. Mukisa and Nurse Deborah watch her closely. Lady. Yes, I've told you, and I don't know how many times you need to hear it. He is my son. I assure you, that's my own son. Even if his face is unrecognizable. I know this shirt. She opens the shirt gently, revealing the familiar fabric. Lady. Continuing. I bought it for him. Dr. Mukisa. Madam, we are not doubting you. Nurse Deborah. We're just wondering how you could help us move him to the mortuary. Lady. Alarmed. What do you mean? Dr. Mukisa. Haven't you heard anything we've said? We've tried everything and we're failing to... Lady, I heard that. And I'm still in shock, trying to imagine why all this has happened. First of all, I've been to his home. Even his girlfriend has moved out. Maybe she could have helped. But how about if I call my pastor? Nurse Deborah and Dr. Mukisa exchange a glance, unsure, before looking back at the lady, silently weighing her suggestion. Sitting room. Day. Dina opens the door, pauses, and looks at Zepha, who is sprawled lazily on the sofa. She walks over and taps him gently. Dina. Zepha. Zepha stirs, blinking sleepily. Zepha. Oh. I dozed off. Kiki, you look a little, pardon me, but you look a little different. Dina. Zepha, I need to ask you something, please. Promise me you'll be completely honest. Zepha, sitting up slightly. Of course. Have I ever lied to you? Why start now? What is it, baby? Sit down. Dina. No, I'll stand. Zepha. Zepha, wait. This feels serious. You're calling me by my name, not babe, not honey. What's going on, my love? Dina. Zepha. I don't even know how to ask this. Are you like... Zepha, nervously. Am I what? Han, you're starting to scare me. Dina. Zepha, are you dead? Zepha opens his mouth to respond. Flashback. Zepha slumps in the passenger seat, fast asleep. Kato is driving, focused but relaxed. A phone on the dashboard starts ringing, its tone loud and insistent. Kato, muttering to himself, "Who's calling now?" He reaches for the phone, eyes flicking to the screen. Suddenly, his grip on the wheel falters. The car swerves sharply, tires squealing against the road. Zepha, half awake, groaning. Kato, careful, too late. The car skids and slams into a tree with a loud crunch. Glass shatters, airbags deploy. Both lurch forward, restrained by their seatbelts. Kato, breathless, panicking. Ah! Zepha, are you okay? Zepha shakes his head, dazed, blinking through the adrenaline. Zepha, I'm fine, I think. You? Kato, clutching the steering wheel, heart racing. Yeah, just a scratch. But the car. They exchange a tense look, the reality of the crash settling in. Sitting room, day. Dina paces the room uncontrollably, tears streaming down her face. Her breathing is uneven, almost choking on panic. Dina, oh my god, breaking down. You're dead. Oh Lord, Jesus Christ, I have been living with. She collapses onto the sofa, clutching her chest. Dina continued, Dear God, Zepha. Zepha steps closer, hesitant, guilt written all over his face. Zepha, baby. He reaches out to touch her arm. She jerks away violently. Dina, don't. Zepha, don't touch me. Zepha, voice breaking. Baby, I'm sorry. She laughs bitterly through tears, shaking her head. Dina, sorry? For what exactly, Zepha? For lying to me? For letting me sleep next to a dead man? She stands, backing away from him. Dina continued, Do you know what that feels like? Do you? Her voice rises, almost hysterical. Dina continued, Why are you even still here? You're dead. Aren't you supposed to be in heaven, or hell, or somewhere that is not here? Zepha lowers his eyes, ashamed. Zepha, I should be. She freezes, staring at him. Zepha continued, But I can't. A painful silence fills the room. Dina swallows hard. Dina, soft, terrified. Why? Zepha looks at her, eyes heavy with truth and regret. Flashback. 57 in T. Bedroom, first house, night. Soft lamplight. Dina and Zepha lie on the bed, facing each other. The mood is intimate but tense, an unresolved conversation hovering between them. Dina, Shah. It's always the same thing. You say you can't do an introduction until you're financially stable. So what am I supposed to do, Zepha? She turns slightly, hurt but controlled. Dina continued, I've seen women wait and wait, only to be disappointed in the end. I don't want to gamble with my heart, Sika love. Zepha exhales, thinking hard. Zepha. I have a solution. Dina sits up, hopeful. Dina, smiling. You do? So, when? Zepha, when what? Dina, the ceremonies, Zepha. His smile fades. Zepha, I'm still not ready for that. Her face hardens. She pulls away and starts getting off the bed. Zepha. Wait, Dina, please. I have something almost better. She pauses, half-turned. Zepha continued. You want assurance, right? That I'm yours, and you're mine. Dina looks at him cautiously. Zepha continued. Have you ever heard of Omukago? Dina, what's that? Zepha reaches into the bedside drawer and pulls out a small black polythene bag. Zepha, it's like a blood oath. Not satanic, before you think that. He opens it slightly, revealing coffee beans. Zepha continued, we cut our fingers, dip the coffee beans in the blood, swear on them, then we eat them. Dina's eyes widened. Dina, won't it hurt? I fear injections. Zepha, it won't hurt that much, and then we swear to stay together till death do us part. Dina thinks, then smiles mischievously. Dina, not just death, even after death. She leans closer. Dina continued, like, If one of us dies, the other one stays around and waits. She winks. Dina continued, together forever. They both laugh, young, naive, deeply in love. Zepha quietly picks up a needle from the drawer. The laughter lingers, just a beat too long. End flashback. Sitting room, day. Dina stares at Zepha, frozen. Her mind is racing, struggling to accept what she's hearing. Zepha, we're locked. Our destinies are intertwined. He takes a slow breath. Zepha continued, that oath we made tied us together. That's why I can't go. I see the light. I really do. I try to reach it, to cross over. But every time, I'm pulled back to you. Dina swallows hard. Dina, like, forever? Zepha, that depends on you, babe. She shakes her head, overwhelmed. Zepha continued, first, we have to break the bond. Eliminate whatever is still tying us together. The blood oath. Dina lets out a nervous laugh that turns into fear. Dina, how? Zepha, maybe you've forgotten, but you're dead. You're a ghost. No blood. Zepha, not exactly. He gestures around him. Zepha continued, my body is still at the hospital. That's why it's stuck. Without a soul, they can't move it. Dina stiffens. Zepha continued, if you go there, get some blood, and repeat the process the way we did before, it should break the bond. Dina's eyes fill with tears. Dina, voice trembling, wait, does that mean I won't see you again? Like, never? Zepha nods slowly. Zepha, not like this. No, I'll be gone. Her tears fall freely now. Dina, is that what you want, honey? Zepha, what I want doesn't matter anymore. He steps closer. Zepha continued, I have to go, so you can live, so you can move on. Dina, breaking. Move on to what? What life is there without you in it? Zepha gently cups her face. Zepha, baby, come here. She leans into him, shaking. Zepha continued, there is no doubt you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. He smiles softly through the pain. Zepha continued, loving you, being loved by you. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever known. And God knows I've enjoyed every second of it. He takes a breath, steady but heavy. Zepha continued, but we can't live like this. What happened has happened, as tragic and unfair as it is. Dina sobs quietly. Zepha continued, let me go, Dina. Loving you now means letting you live fully, normally. He rests his forehead against hers. Zepha continued, I will always love you, no matter where I am. A beat. Zepha continued, you are mine, and I am yours. Dina breaks down completely. Zepha holds her, comforting her as best as he can, despite knowing he won't be able to for much longer. The room is silent except for her tears. Parking. Day. A dusty city parking lot. Several special hire cars line up haphazardly. Drivers lounge on bonnets and inside open doors. Plastic plates of kikomando, chapati, and beans are passed around. A waitress weaves through the cars, sets down a steaming plate in front of one driver. The drivers immediately burst into laughter. Driver 1. Basaja, don't laugh, I'm serious. Driver 2, we know you are, no one is doubting you, but in this line of work, if you've never driven a ghost, then you're not serious. Laughter. Sadat, tell him about my encounter. They turn to Sadat. Sadat continued, this girl kept talking to someone the whole trip. I don't see him. Driver 1, maybe she was talking to you. More laughter. Sadat, I wish. She even stepped out of the car and started arguing, proper argument, with her ghost. Driver 1, and you didn't tell her. Driver 2. Tell her what? People have their things. They laugh harder, digging into their food. A woman appears at the edge of the parking lot scanning the cars. Driver 2, low, alert. Maybe she needs a car. He nudges driver 1. Driver 2 continued, go take her. Driver 1, leave me. I'm still recovering from the ghost. They all burst into laughter again as driver 1 sinks back into his seat. The woman keeps looking, unaware she's about to step into a story far bigger than she knows. Hospital. Day. Dina enters briskly, holding Zepha's arm lightly. The hospital corridor hums with distant beeps, footsteps, and muffled voices. She leans slightly toward Nurse Deborah, speaking softly. The nurse nods, standing promptly, her expression shifting to alert professionalism. They walk side by side, Zepha slightly behind, as the nurse leads them down the bright, sterile corridor toward Dr. Mukisa's office. The camera lingers on Dina's determined face, the soft clatter of their footsteps echoing off the walls. Swimming pool. Day. Sunlight dances on the surface of a lively swimming pool. Children splash and laugh. Dina stands at the poolside, facing away, speaking to a young boy, 6 to 7, who's edging toward the deep end. Dina, don't go to the deep end. You hear me, Zepha? Kid, yes, mummy. A man, early 30s, warm, confident, steps closer. Guy, let me go with him. That one hears, but never listens. He gently pecks Dina on the cheek. She smiles. Dina, thank you. The man walks off with the child. As soon as he's a few steps away, Zepha appears beside Dina. Same playful grin, unchanged. Zepha, he's stubborn, just like someone I know. Dina, smiling, shut up. The man suddenly turns. Guy, what? Dina, startled, covers. Sorry, I'm on the phone. Guy, oh, smiles. Okay, he walks away. Dina exhales. She and Zepha burst into quiet laughter. Dina, I swear one day I will slap you. Zepha, offended. Shame on you, you can't. Beat. I'm a ghost, remember? From the pool. Kid, Mummy, look what I can do. The boy jumps into the water, splashing proudly. Dina's face softens. She waves enthusiastically, pride glowing in her eyes. Zepha watches her, not with sadness, but peace. He smiles. End. Later that day, Dr. Mukisa sat across from Afande, a police officer. Nurse Deborah stood beside the desk. So Afande, that's exactly how it all happened. I apologize for not coming to record a statement yesterday. I had other critical patients. Let me be sure I understand you clearly, Musawo, Afande said. The issue is that the body won't move? Exactly. Nurse Deborah here can confirm that. We have tried everything possible. Deborah nodded. And this has never happened before? Not here. In fact, I've never even heard of such a case anywhere. Unfortunately, when he was rushed in, he had nothing on him. No ID, no documents, just a phone, and even that blacked out before we could access his contacts. His phone blacked out? Yes, Afande. Afande leaned back, troubled. That's abnormal. Where exactly did the accident happen? I'm asking because maybe my officers and I can revisit the scene. The people who brought him in were good Samaritans. They said the accident happened along Hoima Road, around a place called Kikubampanga. Afande wrote it down. Gikubampanga. All right, doctor, we'll follow up on that. Let's keep in touch. They shook hands and Afande exited, leaving Mukisa and Deborah to exchange a concerned glance. Walking back toward the house with their rustling shopping bags, Dina suddenly stopped. What was that? Zepha didn't look back. What was what? You dragged me like that, Dina said, catching up, irritated. Zepha, I don't know if you realize it, but you're becoming someone I hardly recognize. You just pulled me away. No explanation, nothing. Zepha shifted uncomfortably. First of all, I haven't changed one bit. And secondly, I'm sure you wouldn't have appreciated me announcing, in public, that diarrhea had attacked me. Let me pass. Dina froze, then burst into laughter. Zepha fumbled with the keys and rushed inside as she followed him, still laughing. That night in the bedroom, Dina tossed and turned. She reached out for Zepha, but the space was empty. A sinking feeling gripped her. Zepha. No answer. She sat up, the moonlight casting pale shadows. She grabbed her gown and headed toward the sitting room, her heart quickening as the faint strains of suspenseful music seemed to echo in the house. The sitting room was dark, but Zepha was there, slumped in a chair with his head in his hands. Around him, a soft, otherworldly light glowed, faint but unmistakable. Dina froze in wonder and fear. Zepha! At her voice, the light vanished instantly. Zepha remained hunched and still. Dina took a cautious step closer. What? What are you doing? Zepha slowly lifted his head, meeting her gaze with a palpable tension between them. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Nurse Deborah was adjusting a drip for a patient named Nalongo. Nalongo, don't sit up. Ah, I'll be fine. Nalongo smiled. Can I just stretch? My back's starting to ache, unless you want to treat that after the malaria. Are you really insisting on that? Deborah laughed. Musawo, malaria is my backup story. It's my body, my life, my choice. You're lucky you're young. Me? No way. She leaned closer. Anyway, Musawo, I overheard something interesting. 2 guys arguing about a dead body stuck in the hospital. Shh, not so loud, Deborah whispered. That's confidential. Don't be mad at them. I just happen to be excellent at snooping. Outside, I survive on gossip. Lucky for you, I heard about it. And why is that lucky? Because now I can give you a solution. Come closer, sit down. Now listen. I know a really good pastor, and... The next morning at the trading center, Dina was hurrying along with a bunch of banana leaves. A woman at a phone shop waved energetically. Hey, you there? Come. Dina paused, then quickened her steps toward the shop. All right, I'm coming, she muttered, amused. Back at the hospital, the ward was chaotic. Dr. Mukisa, Katamba, Hamza, Deborah, the patient and a pastor were gathered around the immovable bed. The pastor was on his knees, sweating as he prayed and flicked holy oil. Drops landed on Katamba and Hamza. Katamba stifled a laugh. The pastor opened his eyes. All right, my children. One last time. This is it. One last time, he says. For the 10th time now, Katamba whispered. Son, faith isn't measured in attempts. Now, all of us, together, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen, Dr. Mukisa shouted. Muvulide, man of God, let's do this. They all braced themselves, lifting and pushing the bed in sync. The pastor's prayer grew louder, more dramatic, his hands waving and his voice booming with fervor. But despite their combined effort, the bed refused to budge even an inch. Suddenly, with a violent wobble, the force seemed to recoil. Everyone stumbled, collapsing in a messy tangle of limbs on the cold floor. The room erupted in uncontrollable laughter. The tension that had gripped them for days melted away as even the pastor chuckles, wiping sweat from his forehead with a resigned smile. The next morning at the trading center, Dina and a woman named Sarah stood outside a shop, laughing freely like old friends catching up after too long apart. "I swear," Dina gasped. "You're lying, Shah." Sarah laughed. "Hey, you've changed. It's been so long since I last saw you," Dina noted, looking her friend over. "I actually saw you just the other day, near the boutique," Sarah said. "I even tried to call you, but you practically ran off." "Yee, when? I don't remember seeing you at all, and why would I run away from you? You don't demand me." "Unless you have amnesia. It was just yesterday," Sarah insisted. Dina paused, thinking back. "Yesterday? Like Monday? Oh, yee, that was when Zepha and I were shopping. I'm sure he would have told me if he'd seen you. We were together." Sarah's expression shifted. "You were alone. When I saw you, there was no one with you." "No, I wasn't," Dina corrected her. "That was actually the first time I'd left the house since we moved. And he was with me." "Well, I didn't see him, and I have no reason to lie." A brief, awkward beat hung between them. Dina quickly brushed it off with a smile. "Let me go. I have to cook. I'll see you around." "Wait, first give me your number," Sarah said. "I'll call you when the Matuki truck comes by." "That would be nice, but I don't have a phone," Dina admitted. "I lost it when we were shifting. The phone, the line, basically everything." "What? You mean no phone?" Sarah was shocked. "No WhatsApp, no TikTok, not even Facebook. What do you even do for fun?" "Snuggle with my boo," Dina replied, smiling shyly. "That gets old," Sarah laughed. She reached into the shop and picked up a small phone. "Here, take this. There's a line inside that I've never even used. Use it as you figure things out. When you finally get money for a proper phone, just remember us." She pointed to a sign on the wall that read, "We have the link to your world." They both laughed as Dina accepted the gift. In Dr. Mukisa's office, the atmosphere was far more somber. Katamba, Hamza, and Nurse Deborah were gathered, the tension thick in the air. "I officially give up," Dr. Mukisa announced. "Maybe we just relocate the clinic and leave this one for the dead body. We're running out of embalming fluid, and once that's gone, even a fly won't survive here." "I'm with you on that, Musawo," Katamba agreed. "I actually know a good spot for a new clinic, and it won't break the bank." "Musawo, no, I don't support that," Hamza interjected. "We're not voting, Hamza. Your no doesn't count," Katamba snapped. "Let's hear what the man has to say before you start ambushing us," the nurse added, looking at Katamba. "You unqualified brokers are always sniffing around for a chance to make a quick commission. Simanyi, this is your fault." "Ate, hasn't it rained?" Katamba retorted. "If you've got a network, then use it, Nyabo." "Stop it, you two," Mukisa sighed. "Hamza, what's your suggestion?" "A native doctor," Hamza said firmly. "That again?" the doctor sputtered. "Hear me out, Musawo. I know science doesn't exactly endorse these things, but trust me, they exist. We can't deny certain aspects of our culture just because they're inconvenient. We're Africans. These things are part of us." "Wow," Katamba laughed. "You sound like you're giving a my culture, my pride lecture." "Laugh all you want, but Musawo, we shouldn't give up before trying every possible avenue." "All right," Mukisa conceded. "Go ahead. Try whatever you think might help. Meanwhile, I'll check with the officers on what they've gathered so far and start preparing announcements." "Exactly," the nurse agreed. "Maybe the family will have something to contribute." Katamba smirked and mimicked her tone, sparking a playful back-and-forth argument as the tension broke into light laughter. Back at Kato's house, Zepha was pacing the sitting room, animatedly talking to someone. Kato sat in a chair, relaxed, listening patiently as Zepha gestured with excitement. Outside, Dina was walking along the path toward the gate, balancing her bundle of banana leaves and her new phone. She was humming to herself, enjoying the sun. Through the open gate, Zepha spotted her and his face brightened. "Dina! Hey, wait up!" Dina waved back with a cheerful grin. But inside, the conversation continued with a different tone. Zepha paced with visible frustration while Kato sat with his head in his hands, his cap tilted forward. "I've told you I can't do it," Zepha hissed. "Go alone, because I've tried and I failed. If you feel you need to go, then go without me." "I can't," Kato replied, his voice heavy. "I don't know why, but we have to go together. I've tried, Zepha. I can't stay here, it's too much. And Dina, who do I leave her with? Don't forget, we're in this because of you." "Because of me? Zepha, are you serious? How is this my fault? I've said what I've said. My worry now is Dina." "Zepha, that's not your burden alone. You really think she won't notice eventually? Secrets like this, they surface. It's like a pregnancy. Sooner or later, the signs are there. Then what am I supposed to do? Be honest, tell her the truth, end it all cleanly. And if I don't want to, have you..." At that moment, the door swung open and Dina stepped in. Zepha spun around, startled, worry and surprise flashing across his face. Dina set down the shopping bags with a bright smile. "I could have sworn I heard you talking to someone," she said, looking around the seemingly empty room. "Me? Who?" No one," Zepha stammered. Sure. Anyway, guess who I ran into? Sarah. Can you believe it?" "Sarah? No way." "I know, I couldn't believe it either. Babe, the world is so small. I never thought I'd bump into anyone I know out here." "Neither did I," Zepha muttered. "And get this, she gave me a smartphone. Well, kind of lent it to me, and it even has a line. Finally, I can connect with the world. I've been missing Snapchat." Dina pulled out the phone and started taking selfies with Zepha, experimenting with filters. They laughed as their faces were swapped and cartoonified. Zepha playfully posing and exaggerating his expressions for the camera. Miles away, police officers were spread out along a rural path, scanning the ground with cautious precision. One officer spotted something in the dirt. "Sir." He picked up a wallet, brushing off the dust before handing it to his superior. They flipped it open, peering at the identification inside. Suddenly, another officer rushed over, urgency written all over his face. "Sir, you need to see this." "What is it?" Afande asked. "Better if you see for yourself, sir." Afande exchanged a tense glance with the first officer before following, his pace quickening as the wind rustled through the trees. In a busy newsroom, the camera panned across flickering screens and typing journalists. A news anchor looked into the lens with a composed, serious expression. "We interrupt our regular bulletin for a special announcement," he began. "The photo you see on your screen is of Kato Mahad, who tragically lost his life in an accident along Hoima Road, alongside a friend whose details are still being verified. If you have any information about him or his companion, please contact your nearest police station immediately." That evening, the glow from the TV flickered across Zepha's living room. Just as Dina walked in carrying plates of food, Zepha reached over and turned it off. "Why'd you turn that off?" "I thought you loved the news," Dina asked. "Not these days. It's all politics all the time. Annoying." "That's why I said I'd rather watch music or movies," Dina laughed. At least on YouTube I get my MJMV videos. Zepha chuckled, but his eyes were darting toward the blank screen. Don't laugh, Dina teased. Anyway, hand me the remote. I'll be watching something else while you recover from your news overdose. Dina reached for the remote, but Zepha grabbed it playfully. What? She cried. It's time for food. You can't serve two masters at once. Since when? Since now on, let's eat. And honestly, the food looks almost as appetizing as the chef herself. Where should I start first? The chef or the matuk? Eat before it gets cold, Dina laughed. I doubt you'd want it all rubbery. They settled down to eat, their laughter and soft teasing filling the room, though the silence of the television hung heavy between them. Back at the hospital, the room was once again tense. A native doctor knelt on the floor, spreading cowrie shells in a precise pattern. He chanted softly with his eyes closed, then looked up at the waiting faces of Dr. Mukisa, Katamba, and the others. Oh, this is serious, he whispered. Jaja, what do you mean? Hamza asked. You will not be able to move this body from here. As if we didn't already know that, Katamba whispered. I know you know, the native doctor snapped. And young man, know your limits. Don't test me. Jaja, forgive him, Hamza pleaded. He's a mix of ignorance and, well, pure stubbornness. Anyway, the native doctor continued. This young man cannot leave us, and yet he cannot stay. Ask him what we should do about the body, Mukisa directed Hamza. It must be moved. I heard you, the native doctor said, but it's not up to you. He must want it himself. Who? The dead young man. When he decides to join his ancestors, even this body will be lighter than a feather. Until then, nothing, no one, can force it. So, what do we do in the meantime? The nurse asked. Wait. Wait! Everyone exclaimed in unison. The native doctor simply nodded. The scene shifted to a television studio. Sheila Price addressed the camera with an urgent tone. Guys, wake up. This news can't wait. I'm sure you've all heard about the tragic accident. She gestured toward a photo on the screen behind her. The second victim has been identified. It is Zepha Sirwanja. Yes, that's him in the photo, though a bit blurry. Sheila Price leaned slightly forward, her voice softer as she urged the public. If you know anyone by those names, please report to the nearest police station. Let's pray for the families. Accidents like these, they change lives forever. At the gate of the house, Sarah held out her phone toward Dina, her eyes wide with disbelief. I think you have seen, she said quietly. Yeah, but there's no way that's my Zepha, Dina replied, her voice shaky. This must be a mix-up. Dina, remember last time you said you were with him? Sarah pressed. I saw you and there was no one with you. I didn't say. Maybe you just didn't see him. He's not that person. I've been living with Zepha here. If you want, we can go inside and you can talk to him yourself. Neda, Sarah said, shaking her head. The names match and even the photo. Like a national ID, you can tell it's him. That's just what you want to believe, Dina insisted. But if he were dead, would I be living with him, taking photos? Sarah, let me show you my Zepha. See for yourself. Dina grabbed the phone and scrolled to the selfies they had taken earlier. She held the screen out to Sarah. Sarah looked at the screen, her frown deepening. Dina, it's only you in the photos. Dina snatched the phone back, her heart hammering against her ribs. She swiped through the gallery. One by one, the photos appeared, all of them empty. In every single one, Dina was smiling, posing and laughing next to empty space. It's... No way, it's... Dina stammered, stunned. She turned abruptly and walked away, closing the gate behind her without another word. "I'm here if you need me," Sarah called after her. "Maybe not right here, but call me." Sarah walked off, looking back at the house with a mixture of puzzle and concern. Inside the hospital ward, an older woman paced nervously, her hands wringing together. Dr. Mukisa and Nurse Deborah watched her closely. "Yes, I've told you, and I don't know how many times you need to hear it," the lady cried. "He is my son. I assure you, that's my own son, even if his face is unrecognizable. I know this shirt." She reached out and gently opened the shirt of the body. "I bought it for him." "Madam, we are not doubting you," Dr. Mukisa said gently. "We're just wondering how you could help us move him to the mortuary," Deborah added. "What do you mean?" the woman asked, alarmed. "Haven't you heard anything we've said?" Mukisa replied. We've tried everything, and we're failing to move him." "I heard that," the mother said, her voice trembling. "And I'm still in shock, trying to imagine why all this has happened. First of all, I've been to his home. Even his girlfriend has moved out. Maybe she could have helped. But how about if I call my pastor?" Deborah and Mukisa exchanged a weary glance, weighing the suggestion in the silence of the room. Back at the house, Dina opened the door and paused. Zepha was sprawled lazily on the sofa. She walked over and tapped him gently. "Zepha." Zepha stirred, blinking sleepily. "Oh, I dozed off. Kiki, you look a little... Pardon me, but you look a little... different." "Zepha, I need to ask you something," Dina said, her voice tight. "Please, promise me you'll be completely honest." "Of course," Zepha said, sitting up slightly. "Have I ever lied to you? Why start now? What is it, baby? Sit down." "No, I'll stand. Zepha." "Wait, this feels serious. You're calling me by my name. Not babe, not honey. What's going on, my love?" "Zepha, I don't even know how to ask this. Are you, like..." "Am I what?" Zepha asked nervously. "Han, you're starting to scare me." "Zepha, are you dead?" Zepha opened his mouth to respond, but as he did, the world seemed to tilt. In a sudden flashback, the scene shifts to the interior of a car. Zepha is slumped in the passenger seat, fast asleep. Kato is driving, his expression focused but relaxed. A phone on the dashboard starts ringing, the tone loud and insistent in the quiet cabin. "Who's calling now?" Kato mutters to himself. He reaches for the phone, his eyes flicking to the screen. In that split second of distraction, his grip on the wheel falters. The car swerves sharply toward a massive tree at the side of the road. Tires squeal against the gravel. "Kato, careful!" Zepha groans, half awake. Too late. The car skids and slams into the trunk with a deafening crunch. Glass shatters and air fills the cabin as the airbags deploy. Both men are lurched forward, restrained only by their seatbelts. "Ah! Zepha, are you okay?" Kato asks, breathless and panicking. Zepha shakes his head, dazed, blinking through the sudden rush of adrenaline. I'm fine, I think. You?" Kato clutches the steering wheel, his heart racing. Yeah, just a scratch. But the car. They exchange a tense look as the reality of the crash settles over them. In the sitting room, the flashback fades, and the present returns with a crushing weight. Dina is pacing uncontrollably, tears streaming down her face. Her breathing is uneven, a ragged sound of pure panic. Oh my God, she breaks down. You're D, oh Lord, Jesus Christ, I have been I have been living with. She collapses onto the sofa, clutching her chest. Dear God. Zepha. Zepha steps closer, hesitant, guilt written across every feature of his face. Baby. He reaches out to touch her arm, but she jerks away violently. Don't. Zepha, don't touch me. Baby, I'm sorry, Zepha sees, his voice breaking. Dina laughs bitterly through her tears. Sorry? For what exactly, Zepha? For lying to me? For letting me sleep next to a dead man? She stands up, backing away from him as if he were a monster. Do you know what that feels like? Do you? Her voice rises to a hysterical pitch. Why are you even still here? You're dead. Aren't you supposed to be in heaven or hell, or somewhere that is not here? Zepha lowers his eyes, ashamed. I should be. Dina freezes, staring at him. But I can't, Zepha whispers. A painful, hollow silence fills the room. Why? Dina asks, her voice soft and terrified. Zepha looks at her, his eyes heavy with truth and regret. As he begins to explain, another memory surfaces, a night years ago in their first house. The bedroom was bathed in soft lamplight. Dina and Zepha lay on the bed facing each other. There was a tension between them, the weight of an unresolved conversation. Shah. It's always the same thing, Dina said, hurt but controlled. You say you can't do an introduction until you're financially stable. So what am I supposed to do, Zepha? I've seen women wait and wait, only to be disappointed in the end. I don't want to gamble with my heart, Seeker love. Zepha exhaled, thinking hard. I have a solution. Dina sat up, hopeful. You do? So, when? When what? The ceremony, Zepha. His smile faded. I'm still not ready for that. Her face hardened. She pulled away and started to get off the bed. Wait, Dina, please. I have something. Almost better. She paused, half turned. You want assurance, right? That I'm yours, and you're mine. Zepha reached into the bedside drawer and pulled out a small black polythene bag. Have you ever heard of Omukago? What's that? It's like a blood oath, not satanic, before you think that. He opened the bag slightly, revealing coffee beans. We cut our fingers, dip the coffee beans in the blood, swear on them, then we eat them. Dina's eyes widened. Won't it hurt? I fear injections. It won't hurt that much. And then we swear to stay together till death do us part. Dina thought for a moment, then a mischievous smile crossed her face. Not just death, even after death. Like, if one of us dies, the other one stays around and waits. She winked. Together forever. They both laughed, young and naive, deeply in love. Zepha quietly picked up a needle from the drawer. The laughter lingered for a beat too long. In the sitting room, Dina stares at Zepha, frozen as the memory settles. We're locked, Zepha says. Our destinies are intertwined. That oath we made tied us together. That's why I can't go. I see the light. I really do. I try to reach it, to cross over. But every time I'm pulled back to you. Dina swallows hard. Like, forever? That depends on you, babe. First, we have to break the bond. Eliminate whatever is still tying us together. The blood oath. Dina lets out a nervous laugh that quickly turns back into fear. How? Zepha, maybe you've forgotten, but you're dead. You're a ghost, no blood. Not exactly, Zepha says, gesturing to himself. My body is still at the hospital. That's why it's stuck. Without a soul, they can't move it. If you go there, get some blood, and repeat the process the way we did before, it should break the bond. Dina's eyes fill with tears. Wait, does that mean I won't see you again? Like, never? Zepha nods slowly. Not like this, no. I'll be gone. Is that what you want, honey? What I want doesn't matter anymore, Zepha says, stepping closer. I have to go, so you can live, so you can move on. Move on to what? Dina cries, breaking down. What life is there without you in it? Zepha gently cups her face. Baby, come here. She leans into him, shaking. There's no doubt, you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. He smiles softly through the pain. Loving you, being loved by you. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever known. And God knows I've enjoyed every second of it. But we can't live like this. What happened has happened, as tragic and unfair as it is. Let me go, Dina. Loving you now means letting you live fully, normally. He rests his forehead against hers. I will always love you, no matter where I am. You are mine, and I am yours. Dina breaks down completely. Zepha holds her, comforting her as best as he can, despite knowing he won't be able to for much longer. In a dusty city parking lot, several special hire cars are lined up. Drivers lounge on bonnets, sharing plates of kikomando. A waitress weaves through the cars, setting down a steaming plate. The drivers burst into laughter. Basaja, don't laugh, I'm serious, driver 1 says. We know you are, driver 2 chuckles, but in this line of work, if you've never driven a ghost, then you're not serious. Tell him about my encounter, Sadat says, stepping forward. This girl kept talking to someone the whole trip. I don't see him, Sadat continues. She even stepped out of the car and started arguing, proper argument, with her ghost. And you didn't tell her? Tell her what? People have their things. They laugh harder, digging into their food. A woman appears at the edge of the lot, scanning the cars. Maybe she needs a car, driver 2 whispers. Go take her. Leave me, driver 1 replies, sinking into his seat. I'm still recovering from the ghost. At the hospital, Dina enters briskly, her hand lightly on Zepha's arm. The corridors hum with the familiar clinical sounds of beeps and footsteps. She approaches Nurse Deborah and speaks softly. The nurse nods, her expression shifting to one of alert professionalism. They walk side by side, Zepha trailing slightly behind, as the nurse leads them toward Dr. Mukisa's office. Dina's face is set with determination, the soft clatter of their footsteps echoing off the sterile walls. Years pass. Sunlight dances on the surface of a lively swimming pool. Children splash and laugh in the heat. Dina stands at the poolside, her back turned as she speaks to a young boy about 6 or 7 years old who is edging toward the deep end. Don't go to the deep end. You hear me, Zepha? Yes, Mummy, the boy calls back. A man in his early 30s, warm and confident, steps closer to her. Let me go with him, he says gently. That one hears, but never listens. He leans in and pecks Dina on the cheek. Dina smiles. Thank you. The man walks off to join the boy. As soon as he is a few steps away, the original Zepha appears beside Dina. He has the same playful grin, looking exactly as he did the day he left. He's stubborn, just like someone I know, Zepha remarks. Shut up, Dina whispers, still smiling. The man suddenly turns back. What? Sorry, Dina stammers, covering. I'm on the phone. Oh, the man smiles. Okay. He walks away. Dina exhales, and she and Zepha burst into quiet, shared laughter. I swear, one day I will slap you, she teases. Shame on you. You can't, Zepha says, looking offended. I'm a ghost, remember? Mommy, look what I can do, the boy shouts from the pool. He jumps into the water, splashing proudly. Dina's face softens. She waves enthusiastically, pride glowing in her eyes. Zepha watches her, not with sadness, but with a deep, enduring peace. He smiles,